October is Dwarfism Awareness Month, and it's so fun for me because all month long I get to see the color green, which is the color that's used to represent dwarfism awareness, and I get to see on my social media feed all fun facts and interesting educational things about dwarfism. And it's very educational for others and for me as well. I always end up learning something and taking something away from it. Hey everyone, if you're new to my channel, my name is Cynthia Veronica, and I have a 5-year-old son named Sebastian who has achondroplasia, which is the most common form of dwarfism. And I started this channel to connect and also help empower other parents of little people. So in this video, I want to talk about 7 assumptions that other people have made about my son when it comes to his dwarfism. So the first assumption that people make is that my 3-year-old daughter and my 5-year-old son are twins. And I can kind of see this because they are the same height. The funny thing for me is that people would ask me this when they were younger, and when I was having full-on conversations with Sebastian while Samantha was just talking in baby babble. So nope, they're not twins, they're 20 months apart. It's an opportunity to educate and tell people that there's not always a direct correlation between age and height. Even average height children grow at different rates. For example, my niece, who is just 1 year old, is actually just as tall as my daughter, who is 3 years old, and also average height. So everyone's different, everyone grows at different rates. That's just how it is. The next assumption that people make about my son is they assume that he is a lot younger than he actually is. For some reason, strangers are very curious about Sebastian's age, and they're not shy about approaching me and directly asking me how old he is. And that's something that's usually the first question I get asked. I actually had one woman randomly ask me at a playground how old Sebastian was, and when I told her how old he was, she just looked at me in bewilderment. I think what was hard for me was before Sebastian was even born, I was exposed to little people. I knew little people in my workplace. Once Sebastian was born, I started going to national conferences. I went to my first one for LPA before Sebastian was even 1. So I had a lot of exposure to little people. And it even got to the point where I would see an LP child and it was hard for me to even tell the difference between someone with achondroplasia and someone average height. And I would really have to look at their features and say, okay, is this an average height baby I'm looking at or an achon baby? I can't tell. So it's just something that became very normalized for me. And so it kind of took me aback when people started, looking at me or staring at Sebastian or looking shocked whenever they learned about his age. And what I learned from this is it's just very important to educate others and just make them aware of differences. So the next assumption that people make is regarding the genetics. They'll usually ask me questions like, where did Sebastian get his dwarfism from? Or how did this happen? And the answer is, he got it from neither of us. Both Sebastian's dad and I are both average height, and neither of us have dwarfism in our family. It's basically just a random gene mutation. It can happen to anybody. So in fact, 80% of people with dwarfism are born to average height parents. The fourth assumption people make is that I feel sorry for myself for having a son with dwarfism, and that can be further from the truth. Usually when I'll tell someone that I have a son who has achondroplasia, the most common form of dwarfism, sometimes they'll say things like, I'm so sorry, or they'll say something to the effect of feeling heartbroken towards me. I'm sorry too, but not because my son has dwarfism. I'm sorry because of how our society views it and how our culture views it. I'm sorry that the world is not always open-minded and embracing of diversity and differences, because they're really missing out. It's a beautiful thing to be different, and it's such an amazing opportunity to build culture and community around it. So far, we've had the opportunity to meet so many amazing different people from all over the world, and we would never have otherwise met these people had Sebastian not had the condition that he has. So we've had the chance to build new friendships, camaraderies that we never would have otherwise known. This experience has also taught me a lot about myself, and it's actually helped me recognize that I have a lot of healing to do. And it's something that I probably never would have known to explore, would never have really been aware of had it not been for Sebastian. But in terms of other people's responses, not everybody responds that way, in a negative way. I had one coworker, when I told her that my son had achondroplasia, right away she was so encouraging, and she said, my brother has a friend with achondroplasia, and he's traveled the world and he's done so many amazing things, and nothing's really stopped him. Thank you, Allison, if you're watching, for being so reassuring, so encouraging, and so inspiring in your response. The fifth assumption people have made is that Sebastian goes to a special school with only LPs. This one actually kind of made me laugh. If there ever were such a preschool or school with just LPs, I want to know about it, because that would probably be the cutest preschool ever. But no, this doesn't exist, because it's just so uncommon to have dwarfism. Dwarfism is so rare. It happens 1 in every about 40,000 births. So you don't see a whole lot of people with dwarfism, and there wouldn't be enough for a school. There just wouldn't be enough in the same grade, within the same location. I have heard of a small town in China that does employ little people or people with dwarfism, and they actually work there as entertainers. They live in this town, and I honestly have mixed feelings about this. On the one hand, it's kind of nice that people with similarities are able to connect with each other, build friendships with each other, and, you know, kind of give each other support. On the other hand, there's something really wrong with our society if people with differences feel like they're not able to integrate into society because they're being mocked or they're being made to feel inferior to their average height counterparts. It's a sign that something just really needs to change culturally. The sixth assumption that people make is that Sebastian has limited capabilities. This could not be further from the truth. He can do so many things. He's capable of so many things already. He's only 5 years old. He's able to dress himself. He's able to brush his own teeth independently. He can put on his own shoes. He makes his own breakfast. He does a lot. He likes to do 100-piece puzzles. He likes to play the ukulele. He loves to sing. He does anything he really sets his mind to. I will say certain things take a little bit longer. Certain milestones have taken a little bit longer for him to reach. But for me, it's just a reminder for me to be more patient. Reaching these milestones is a journey as a parent. It doesn't always mean that you have to check off the box and make sure that you meet certain milestones. It's about savoring the experience. It's about living in the moment and really relishing in the time together. And the times that I've, tried to help him or watch him, meet these milestones or work on certain tasks, if it takes him a little bit longer, it's an opportunity for me to bond with him, for me to work with him, and to coach him through it. The seventh assumption that people make is that he will not find a life partner because he has dwarfism. So false. People have made comments to me insinuating things like, oh, he probably won't find a life partner because he's little. No. I've seen little people get married, have kids, get divorced. They do it all. Some little people marry other little people with the same dwarfism as them, others with a different type of dwarfism, and sometimes they marry average height people as well. I've seen relationships absolutely thrive within the little people community, and I've even seen marriages that are amazing and that I would even find inspirational. So those are the assumptions. Thank you so much for listening. If you got value out of this, please hit the like button and consider subscribing if you're not already subscribed, and consider sending this to someone who you think may learn something from it. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye for now.